We start from the United Kingdom at this time, and reports say that there'll be no more UK energy bill support before the price cap that's coming up, I believe, in October. So we have our London Bureau Chief, Juliana, now joining us to give us details of this. Hi, Juliana. Good morning. I heard you may be paying more for your energy.
Morning, Annie. That's absolutely right. We've just come out of a blazing hot summer, and unfortunately, it seems as if we're going to be going into a very long, cold winter. And that's because of the update we received yesterday from Ofgem, which is the energy regulator here in the UK, announcing that there will be another energy cap price hike. It's going to be hiked by 4% beginning on the 1st of October, which means a typical annual energy bill in the UK is going to rise by £60 to just above £1,700 a year, which, according to my calculations, just under 4 million naira. I don't think, Brits are going to be too happy, particularly one Brit, a man called Andy Burnham, because you'll remember a couple of weeks ago, Innie, that the Prime Minister did actually cut VAT on electricity bills to try and cushion the blow of what is going to be a cold winter in the UK. But alas, a lot of those savings that the administration tried to put in place have been swallowed up by this new announcement. And now with Ofgem's hike, it basically means that we're going to be paying this year the highest we have had in 3 years for energy. There are a multitude of factors, but of course we know the biggest factor is what's happening in Iran and the fact that the war has pushed up international wholesale energy prices. And because Britain is so energy dependent of nations from across these seas, we are having to pay more for that.
Yeah, and I wonder if this plug-in solar panels, which is supposed to go on sale from today for the very first time in the UK, I wonder if this would help in any way.
Well, yes and no. The timing of this announcement is quite interesting, but of course, anybody who's been following this very niche story about the installation of solar panels will know that this legislation has been written on the walls for many years now, but it is announced today. What it effectively means is that for the first time, residents in the UK, British residents, can purchase their own solar panel installation system, basically to try and save as much money as they can on electricity bills, and of course capture their own energy, which I think if you travel across Europe, you're more likely to see lots of solar panels on people's rooftops. It's always been banned here, mostly because the installation process has been pretty technical. According to insiders, this new machine that is available for local residents is a lot easier to install and apparently could save you about £60 a year on your electricity. So we're not where we should be with solar energy, but at least, the process is beginning, so ordinary folk can capture their energy from the sun.
Yeah, well, management of that, Julian, I have to tell you, it's also another conversation, because people talk about the impact of having the solars on rooftops and everything, and I don't know if there's been conversation around that, or maybe when people start using it, then those conversations will come alive, because we have such conversations here in Nigeria.
Yes, of course. I think the difference is, of course, is that, Britain doesn't really get a lot of sun. Of course, we do get wind. It's a very windy island. So there hasn't been as much talk about solar energy here in the UK as there is in Africa. But it's an important story, particularly as, of course, we know that we are going through extreme weather patterns.
Yeah.
And it's going to get hotter much longer here in the UK. So being able to capture that heat is really important.
Yeah, it is. And, well, it might not be business, but having Prince Harry and Meghan back, I'm sure, is it excitement, positive, negative?
It's interesting you say it might not be business. So let me tell you something, Kinney. It is business.
Okay, great.
It is. It's a big business for the British media, who are in this very toxic love affair with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, popularly known as Prince Harry and Meghan. I can tell you that they have actually arrived safely in Britain.
Thankfully.
Yes, the family of 4 are here. Of course, they brought along their 2 children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, who I can tell you we have never actually seen.
Wow.
We've seen them. If you followed the coverage of Mexit, which can't believe happened 6 years ago. We used to talk about this all the time on channels, but it was 6 years ago that this happened. And of course, according to Meghan, they fled Britain basically for their safety. They were hounded daily by the British media. Sadly, that seems to be continuing. In fact, even following the death of that professor, Jason Arday, we are still seeing a relentless attack daily on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. I know we don't have much time. Just important to mention that we believe that they're here because Prince Harry, the Duke, wants his children to school in Britain. And we believe, because they arrived in Birmingham, which is the second largest city, sort of in the middle of the country, that they'll be living in the Cotswolds, which is a beautiful, picturesque town just in the Midlands. And so, yes, we'll be following them closely. No indication that they are on better terms with the King Charles III, although he does have cancer. A lot of suggestions that perhaps Prince Harry wants to be closer to his father because he's getting old, and the spat between the 2 royal brothers continues. But yes, this is a big business.
Big business. Thank you, Juliana. I hear you. Thanks a lot for the update, Juliana, and have a great rest of your day. All right, from the UK, let's go to US, where our correspondent Maria Bird is giving us update or a review of the market trading yesterday, Wednesday.
Good morning, Annie. While many investors are awaiting Friday's speech by the Federal Reserve Chairman Kevin Warsh, the U.S. stock market was a bit challenged on Wednesday, as the Dow Jones was down at 0.21%, the S&P 500 was barely changed, and the heavy tech Nasdaq was down at 0.08%, as many investors continue to watch to see how the U.S. stock market will respond. Companies like Meta had major days, but did see some upward tick in the stock market as they settled the $18 billion lawsuit. As this lawsuit has had major impact on the company, but only time will tell if it will have an impact on the U.S. stock market in days and weeks ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maria. Moving away from the UK and US, Ukraine says its forces have hit a major oil refinery in Russia that's in the Volga region as Kyiv steps up long-range attacks on Russian energy infrastructure. And the strike's part of Ukraine's efforts to disrupt Russia's oil revenues and reduce the energy flows that help fund the war. And closely related to that, wheat prices following that attack have surged to a 3-year high. As growing fears of an escalation in the Russia-Ukraine war is raising concerns over global grain. So it's not just the oil and gas. And Chicago wheat, we see, has reached its highest level since July 2023.